This is World Civilization. My name is Dr. Long. This video is part 4 of a series on world religions, and this video is entitled Hinduism. Now, together with Buddhism, Hinduism is an Eastern religion, and both Hinduism and Buddhism began in India. As we shall see, while Hinduism and Buddhism certainly have their differences, they also have some important commonalities as well. Both of these, again, are Eastern religions. Unlike the 3 monotheistic world religions that we have already covered in this series, namely Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Eastern religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, do not believe in a personal God, or do not necessarily even believe in a God at all. In addition, monotheistic religions believe that human beings are made up of body and soul. And the monotheistic view of the body and the idea of a resurrection at the end of time is very important. Eastern religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, on the other hand, do not believe that the human body and the human soul are intimately connected, nor do they subscribe to the notion of an eventual resurrection of the dead that you see in monotheistic religions. Rather, Eastern religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, believe in reincarnation. And this is the idea that after death, the spirit is reborn into a new body, and that there's a cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth that continues for many, many years. In Eastern religions, the goal is not forgiveness of sins and to be in heaven with God. The goal, rather, is liberation from the cycle of birth and death and rebirth that you see in reincarnation. This cycle of reincarnation is also associated with great suffering. Now, of the 2 largest Eastern religions, Hinduism is the oldest and the largest. Scholars believe that Hinduism began with a people called the Aryans, who migrated and settled in India around 1500 BCE. The Aryans spoke Sanskrit. Scriptures, such as the Vedas and the Upanishads, are both written in Sanskrit, and they are believed by Hindus to have been divinely revealed. Now, as a religion, Hinduism has long encompassed a wide variety of beliefs, sacred scriptures, stories, rituals, and practices. To this day, there's a great diversity within Hinduism as a religion. Now, on the one hand, Hinduism can be said to be polytheistic. Hindus worship literally millions of gods. The Hindu scriptures, as well as other Hindu stories, recount the deeds of the gods. The most popular gods in Hinduism include the much beloved god Ganesha, who is an elephant-head compassionate deity, as well as Vishnu, who is seen as the preserver, Shiva, the destroyer god, Krishna, who is seen as the god of love and compassion, Parvati, the clever goddess, and Kali, the terrifying, destructive mother goddess. And these are just a few examples of some popular Hindu gods. Now, Hindus build temples to their gods and goddesses and worship them there. They have statues of them in their homes even, and have festivals dedicated to the gods and goddesses. So again, Hinduism certainly has a very strong polytheistic element to it. Nonetheless, Hinduism also subscribes to a concept called Brahman. And what Brahman is in Hinduism is ultimate reality. Brahman transcends time and space. It includes everything in the universe, including humans. Even the gods are seen as simply a manifestation of Brahman. So the concept of Brahman may sound similar to monotheism, as we've talked about before. However, monotheistic religions make a distinction between God and humans, between God and creation. Brahman, on the other hand, is simply an impersonal force. And in Hinduism, everything is Brahman. Even individual selfhood is seen ultimately as an illusion, as everything is a part of Brahman. Now, in addition to this idea of Brahman, Hinduism strongly believes in a concept called Samsara. And Samsara is the entire cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. It's a cycle that can go on many, many times. Hindus believe that when you die, you are reborn as another person or as another animal, and that you have another life that way. This rebirth, again, is called reincarnation. And the bad deeds that you commit in this life are called karma. And they determine whether you have a good rebirth or a bad rebirth. One could be said to be reborn as a human or as an animal. And in Hinduism, cows are considered sacred animals. They are considered a symbol of India and of Hinduism as a religion. Now, because of their beliefs about animals and reincarnation, Hinduism has long tended towards a vegetarian diet. And that's a key component of Hinduism as a religion. Remember, one aspect of world religions is typically some sort of dietary restriction or beliefs about what one can eat. Now, as part of their beliefs about reincarnation, from the very beginning, Hinduism has had a caste system. And there are 4 main castes in Hinduism, as well as a number of subcastes. The 4 main castes in Hinduism are first, at the very top, the priests, scribes, and teachers. And this is known as the Brahmin class. A second are the rulers, warriors, and administrators. Third are the farmers and merchants. And fourth are the laborers. Now, down below all of this caste system, and even below these 4 castes, is a caste called the Dalits, and they're really at the very bottom. Another term for the Dalits are the untouchables, and they are considered to be the lowest of the low, ritually unclean for the Brahmin caste. The untouchables, the Dalit class, perform undesirable menial tasks, such as leather work, or any work related to dead bodies, whether human or animal, or latrine cleaners. Now, this caste system is heavily stratified by occupation, and it features a good deal of segregation and discrimination by caste. If you're born into one caste, you cannot move up or move down to another. And this includes even marriage. In Hinduism, marriage between different castes is strictly prohibited. Now, this may seem unfair on the one hand, but remember that one's place in the caste system is said to be determined by one's karma. So if one lives a very evil life, one will be reborn into a lower caste as a result. And that's how Hinduism sees it. So there is a certain sense of cosmic justice to this. Now, in addition to the caste system, another important concept of Hinduism is the idea of Dharma. Dharma. And Dharma means duty. Dharma includes everything from order to law to obedience to those in authority to truthfulness. And Hindu epic stories, such as Ramayana, features characters who face moral dilemmas related to their own particular Dharma. Now, one's Dharma is seen as determined by one's place in society, one's caste, one's sex, and so forth. And for Hinduism, proper order of society is very important. And Dharma, for each individual, depending on their place, helps regulate this. And it helps check the desires of individuals. Now, for women, Dharma includes being a good and faithful wife and mother. And this is what the place of women is seen in Hinduism. Dharma for women, for many Hindu women, is also considered to be giving birth to sons. And by tradition, in Hinduism, sons take care of their parents in old age and perform rituals for their parents upon their death. Daughters, on the other hand, require a dowry for marriage, and marriages are arranged in Hinduism. And daughters are thus seen as an economic drain for the family. Some Hindus even view the failure of a wife to produce sons as punishment for her misdeeds in a previous life. Now, in the end, the goal in Hinduism is to liberate oneself from karma and from the cycle of death and rebirth in Samsara. It is believed that one can move up the caste system and ultimately break the whole cycle of Samsara by achieving unity with Brahman. This is done by doing one's Dharma, one's duty, and also meditation techniques such as yoga as well as ascetic practices such as fasting and mortification, are seen as contributing to moving up the caste system and eventually the idea of achieving unity with Brahman. Hinduism also has a priest caste, and this is the leading class, which leads worship to the gods and recitations of the scriptures, the Vedas. It also has holy men, or gurus, who are sought after because they are considered to have spiritual wisdom. Now, while Hinduism is largely limited to India, as well as places where Indians have settled, it is worth remembering that since ancient times, India has always had a very large population. Today, Hinduism has over 1 billion followers, making it one of the world's largest religions. And I'll stop with that observation. Thanks for watching.